Welcome to this week's episode of the Nerd Chatter Podcast, where two nerds sit down and chit-chat about nerd news that we run across throughout the week. As always, I'm joined by my good buddy Garrett. My friend, how are you?
Very tired. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. D23 this week.
Yeah, it's going on right now.
Yeah, we're recording this on Saturday, later afternoon. We got through the Marvel and, Star Wars panel here on Saturday, which was some juicy stuff, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But as always, I'd like to start off the shows by sharing the free and heavily discounted games that I come across throughout the week. A little bit dry this week, but we did have a couple notable entries here. As always, on Epic Games Store. This one's until the September 15th. It's 100 Days Winemaking Simulator. I'm sure a favorite for Garrett. Top-down kind of city-building tycoon game, soft art style, but you run a winery. What do you think? You going to get on that?
Probably not. Something tells me.
I mean, I might give it a shot here. We're gonna be streaming a little bit later. I might fire it up and see what's up. Next one here is Realm Royale's Reforged Epic Launch Bundle Set. It's free until September 15th as well. It says Death's Edge Assassin Skin, the Boxzerker Chicken Skin, and the No Guard Mount. It looks like a fantasy themed, like Fortnite style game. So, do with that what you will. But yeah, like I said, we had D23 this week. So you had a lot of Marvel information, Disney information, Star Wars information. I think they're talking about Avatar right now while we record this. So, we got some juicy stuff to go over. So I'm actually going to hand this one off over to Garrett, since definitely the Uber fan between us two for Disney and Star Wars and stuff like that. So I'm going to let you take this one.
Well, thanks. So yesterday was heavily focused on all things Disney related. So Disney Studios, Disney Animation Studios, and Pixar. So I'm going to go through per studio, everything that was announced or released, or just information that was thrown out. First off, Hocus Pocus 2 trailer came out. It looks really good. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet, but it is going to be the show, or I guess movie, is going to be dropping on Disney Plus on September 30th. So we're only a couple weeks away from that. So that will be a fun watch before Halloween.
Yeah, well, we're going to be doing a watch of that one, right? And we're going to be recording it for. So basically, I'll be in Florida. I'll be at the Disney World with the Halloween event. So I won't be able to record that week. So we're probably going to do an early recording for the Halloween show this year, where we're going to watch the original and then watch the new one. So I look forward to that. But yeah, I saw that trailer and it was entertaining. It's definitely kind of where I expected it to be. So a little bit of rehashing of some of the old jokes and quirks and stuff like that. But I
mean, that's part of it. So yeah.
I mean, overall though, it looks enjoyable, and just, I'm all about that spooky stuff. So all the spooky content I can get around Halloween, I'm down for. So yeah, we'll be watching it.
Yep. Then Disenchanted is the follow-up for the 2007 movie Enchanted. I saw that one time with one of my nieces, or a couple of my nieces back in the day. I watched the trailer. I mean, it has the same actors in it. I can't remember what the release date on this guy is, but here we go. It'll be streaming on Disney Plus November 24th of this year. So that's coming out. And it doesn't say if it's a movie or a series. So
that's Disenchanted.
Yeah, Disenchanted.
Yeah, I never saw the Enchanted film. Is that like a current day take on some older story? Is that what it is?
If I remember right,
like Romeo and Juliet.
It's like more. It's more like the just classic Disney fairy tales just brought to real life. It was like one of those things that are movies that like early on that combined live action with some animated elements. I mean, I didn't pay attention. I was mainly babysitting for that, but this one looks very much live action with some animated elements. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of the trailer. I was like, I don't know what this is referencing. I guess it was kind of like a fan favorite, and that's why people were like all about it, and like it got brought back after what, like 12 years or something, or it's been like forever since the first one came out.
14, 15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the first one came out in 2007.
So I mean, that's what a cult following is right there for sure.
Yep. So Peter Pan and Wendy was announced. It's a new film that dives deeper into Wendy's story as she joined the boy who refuses to grow up, and that will be coming to Disney Plus in 2023. There was a couple images that was shown at D23, but and an exclusive first look at the film, but nothing released to the public. Next up,
is it a film or is it a show?
It is a film.
It's a film.
Yep. Unless they change it otherwise, or unless the article that I pulled from on this particular one from, it was like D23.com has it wrong. It's a film, so we'll see. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But next up is Haunted Mansion. A sneak peek was showed at D23. We didn't get to see it, but there was a description that got pulled out. So I'll just go ahead and read the description that was given. The trailer watches as a car pulls up to a mansion in the depths of the night. The mansion, our narrator says, was discovered fully built after a fire in 1788. That's when things started to get weird, he continues. With a string of dramatic events, paranormal attacks, yellow fever, explosions. There's no records, only stories. We follow a character played by Tiffany Haddish, a priest, portrayed by Owen Wilson, as they explore hidden areas of the darkly historic house with a group of kids, finding behind a painting a room that had not been touched in centuries. The trailer also introduced us to a tour guide played by Lakeith Sanfield. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. With further flashes to characters played by Rosario Dawson, Danny DeVito, and more.
Oh, Danny.
Yep. He's making his one. He's been in Disney movies before, right?
Is Matilda Disney?
I don't think. No, I don't know.
Well, it might be DreamWorks or something. I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's a genius.
I mean, yeah, he's great.
Yeah. I didn't. I saw the announcement. I didn't see too much in regards to like any trailers or anything that played, but I did see Jamie Lee Curtis get brought out. You know, they called her the queen of horror films. They brought her out in one of the conveyor seats that you have at Haunted Mansion, the ride, and it swung around and showed her. So I don't know what role she's gonna be playing, but you know, she's my queen. So anything she plays in that movie is gonna be great. And then you had Jared Leto, I think, for that film, rumored to be the Hatbox Ghost. So I mean, are you gonna go see it? I mean, is that gonna be a Disney Plus type thing, or is that gonna be a film?
It does not say.
I mean, I'm down regardless. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like it would be a actual movie release and not just a Disney Plus release. So we'll see. I don't know.
It's my favorite attraction at the parks, like hands down. I love that ride so much. So
yeah.
I'll go see it for sure.
Yeah. Next movie from Disney Studios is Mufasa, The Lion King. This was completely newly announced. It is a prequel to The Lion King. Hint, hint, you know, whatever. It won't release until 2024, but they did show a quick sneak peek of it at the show. They had a little bit about the film, which is still in production. It sounds like it's going to be told in flashbacks by Rafiki, Timon, and Pumbaa, and they tell the story of Mufasa to a young lion cub. Then Mufasa will reveal the rise of one of the greatest kings of the Pride Lands. Again, coming in 2024.
Do you think they'll use James Earl Jones, or do you think they'll use the AI like they did for Star Wars?
I mean, we talked about this. I think there's going to be. I think they'll use him in some way. I mean, as long as he's alive, I don't see how they couldn't. They're still in production. He's pretty old, and I mean, we just had the Queen die this week, and I mean,
breaking
there's
news.
Just yeah.
Don't know if you heard, but the Queen died. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, old people die. That's just how it is.
My thing with James Earl Jones is that in Lion King he sounded noticeably older. Like it's just not as tight and crisp. You know what I mean? Like I'm not no shade. Like it's the most harmonic voice to ever exist, but when it comes to telling a story of a younger version of that character, I don't know how they're gonna do it and have him have that same like pep.
Yeah, my thought is so with Mandalorian, they did a de-aging AI to Mark Hamill's voice. So I guess it would be for Book of Boba Fett. They might do that for James Earl Jones.
Maybe. I mean, they did build that AI for Vader.
Well, they have the AI for Vader, but they have the de-aging AI as well.
Yeah, so I mean, they might just combine it into a James Earl Jones AI that can
they
morph
should
and
anyways.
adapt. I mean,
I
would take a Siri with James Earl Jones. You know what I mean?
I was about to say
DLC. I'm down. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if they released a Siri of James Earl Jones or, Yoda or anyone, I'd be all over that. There's two more. So there was a live action Snow White announced. I mean, Gal Gadot is on the cast for that one. I think she's playing the evil queen, right?
Yeah, evil Queen Grimhilda. And I mean, when I saw the two characters like on or not characters, but two actors on stage next to one another, it's like, oh yeah, dude, for sure. Like you put the headpiece on her and like the dress, like yeah, she definitely rocked that part for sure.
The other live action, The Little Mermaid, also coming out. That's coming out in 2023. Snow White is slated to come out in 2024. They did release a trailer for everyone for The Little Mermaid, so we'll have that linked in our Twitter video and on Twitter, or our YouTube video and on Twitter. Sorry about that. So that's everything for Disney Studios. My overall thoughts, I'm excited for Hocus Pocus 2 and Haunted Mansion. I think those are both going to be fun movies. I'm hesitant about Mufasa. I'm just hesitant because I want to make sure they do it right and do the voice right and everything else right. I mean, it's Disney. They're going to do whatever they want with it anyway. So, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not interested in Mufasa at all. I'm sure my wife will be, but yeah, I mean, Hocus Pocus 2, that's kind of like a given. I like the timing of that too. Right at the beginning of the Halloween season, and Peter Pan and Wendy, like I don't really like care too much about. Disenchanted, like I said, I didn't watch the original, so it's like, yeah, Haunted Mansion is probably like my peak interest there, just because of my affinity for that ride. But I don't know, like it's whatever. I don't think that whole segment was intended for a wide variety of viewers. You know what I mean? Like I think even watching the beginning of that segment, there was like actual children's cartoons like playing on the side for kids to watch and stuff, so
it's not surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, it's out of my wheelhouse, but as a dad and stuff, I'm keeping an eye out for like cool stuff for him to get into like years from now. So
yeah,
there's some decent stuff, but really I think for like viewing pleasure, it'll be like Haunted Mansion only for me, really.
Yeah. So the next studio that presented yesterday was Pixar. So they have a new movie called Elemental, and that's slated for a June 2023 release. It is a story of immigrants pursuing dreams in beautiful neighborhoods where language and culture come together. The filmmakers introduce the characters, which are like elements. So like there's a character that's like made out of fire and is like wearing a suit, and then a character made out of water. But the city this takes place in, it's where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. Ember is a tough and fiery young woman, and Wade is a sappy, go-with-the-flow water guy. That's sappy. What? I didn't read
that. Where did you get that from?
This was from the D23.com article.
Jeez.
I know, that's just that's much.
a water person and a fire person. There you go.
Yeah.
I saw the poster for it too, where they're like touching, or they're about to touch hands.
Yeah.
I figured that would be the premise. Like they can't coexist. You know what I mean? Like there's a conflict there because they'll
just turn into steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it deep, looks cute.
Deep.
Yeah, it looks cute. I mean, it's a Pixar movie.
It's a Pixar movie. Yeah.
Yep.
Another one.
Yes. So that's going to be a feature film release. Again, June 2023. Next up from Pixar is it's called Win or Lose, and it's slated for fall 2023 Disney Plus movie release. Actually, not movie release, excuse me. It is Pixar's first ever long form series. So the series follows the Pickles, a co-ed middle school softball team, in the week leading up to their championship game. The article is specifically talked about how each episode takes place in the same amount of time, and it's just from different perspectives. So I mean, that sounds fun, but seeing Pixar go out of their normal box, I think that's what I'm excited for, to see how they can change up the story or their story portrayals that they do, just mixing it up, because that's something they haven't done before.
Yeah. They
announced 2 other projects that they're working on that are both coming out in 2024. Their first one is a Leo, and it's about 11-year-old dreamer, and the mom is a top secret military, or is like, she runs a top secret military project of some sort, and there's some introductions with some aliens, and Leo gets confused for an ambassador for Earth. So there's that. Then the other one, which is probably going to be their big release for 2024, is Inside Out 2. And that's going to be, I mean, what they said for it, it's all new adventure inside the now teenager, or the head of the now teenager Riley, who may or may not be feeling all kinds of new emotions.
Oh, no.
I know.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to pin down what Inside Out was. Is that like some like microorganism type of...
So, do you remember the movie where they had... it came out in like 2015-ish, maybe 2014, where it was a young girl, and like you got to zoom into her brain and like see the emotions interacting with each other, and there
Maybe, yes, I think I did actually. Oh no.
There was the little fire guy the anger guy, and
yes,
each character in her brain was an emotion. So it's the follow up for that.
I just think of the Rick and Morty episode with like the homeless guy.
Oh, no.
Where they got to go in to build the amusement park. Yeah,
definitely not that level of creepy, but she's definitely, I mean, a teenager, puberty, you know.
Yeah,
boys.
About as far out of my wheelhouse as you can get, to be honest.
I have a special place for Inside Out. My wife and I bonded over that movie when we were dating. So, anyways, that's everything that Pixar had. Nothing super crazy. Everything looks cute. Like I said, it's Pixar. I'm intrigued about a Leo. I think that could be a fun story. And I'm also intrigued about Inside Out.
Yeah, I just haven't shown any type of interest in Pixar movies since, like, I don't know, Toy Story 2. So it's like, you know, it's like, okay, you know, more stuff to add to the shelf, you know. And like I said, the kid's going to be old enough at one point to enjoy that type of stuff. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah. So next up is Disney Animation Studios. I'll go over most of this pretty quick. Zootopia Plus, which is a short form series coming out this November, and it's going to basically feature an episode about different animals from the Zootopia universe. So we're going to have like a sloth episode and a rodent episode, and just it looks fun. I don't know if you saw Zootopia when it came out, but the sloth scenes were definitely the best.
I did. Yeah, I mean, you really only needed to watch the trailer to get the funny out of that movie for sure, but I think the CGI in that movie was actually pretty impressive.
It was very impressive.
Just the real, I don't say realism, but just like the vibe. It was kind of just, it felt lived in.
Yeah. Well, and that was from 6 years ago too. It was very impressive for then.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know why I saw that, but I did see that movie actually.
Yeah. Next up is, I'm so sorry if I pronounce this wrong. I probably will. Owaju. It's an all-new long-form series created in collaboration with a Pan-African comic book entertainment company called Kuga. It is a futuristic coming-of-age story that introduces Tola, a young heiress from the wealthy island, and her best friend Cole, a self-taught tech expert and loving son from the mainland. Sounds very intriguing. They didn't have any like artwork for it or anything, but they said it's going to be colorful and bright. There was no release information on that other than it's in the works. I don't, like I said, I don't know if they even showed artwork for that one. Next up is Strange World. There's already a trailer out for it. It came out in June. They showed some specific sequences that were exclusive to D23, and that's releasing on November 23rd. Then lastly, they announced their newest films slated for next year of fall 2023. It's called Wish, and it is an animated musical which is inspired by the legacy of films from the studio and asks the question, how did the wishing star upon which so many characters wished come to be?
What? Like the star itself?
Yeah.
Like in the sky? Like the presumably like planet or galaxy or whatever? Or is it going to be like a mystical type of...
It's probably going to be a mystical type of thing.
Okay. It's like the spirit of some like earthly god or something that ascends.
Well, I mean, it's like Disney, so it's probably going to be something a lot more simple than that. I mean, the wishing star is like the power that gave like Pinocchio life.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, so that's everything from yesterday now. So that's again from Disney Studios, Pixar, and Disney Animation Studios. Again, aimed towards
tiny people.
Yes, but it all looks cute. It all looks fun. So today is where the big boys came. They had the panel that started off at 10 and went for almost 3 hours. And first up was Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy immediately took to the stage and kind of gave a recap of what they've done on Disney Plus. Said nothing about any of the sequel movies. I thought that was interesting. So she officially confirmed that there will only be 2 seasons of Andor with 12 episodes each. And then she describes Andor as a spy thriller. The whole cast of Andor also took the stage and each talked about their character for like 30 seconds. Then the final trailer was released. So we'll have that linked. It looks really nice.
Is that the one that's a 3-part first like premiere?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
When it releases on I think it's the 21st or 22nd of this month, it will be releasing with the first 3 episodes all at once. So the way that they're releasing it, or not releasing it, but they've made it is every 3 episodes is one arc.
Yeah. I wonder if that was a decision before they decided to delay it like 3 weeks.
I'm assuming it was heavily impacted, the decision to delay it.
Yeah, they're probably like, it probably would be best if we just release this first chunk instead of doing it episodic. Yeah. Maybe they're freeing up focus from something else. I don't know.
Well, I think. Okay, here's my theory. I mean, we've seen several. I mean, at least I've seen 4 episodes of She-Hulk now. I think they knew She-Hulk was going to struggle a little bit as far as viewership, and they didn't want to have Andor compete. That is my honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about all that. Those 2 different demographics. That's 2 different levels, to be honest. Andor is way above She-Hulk.
I agree, but if someone's going to choose one or the other, from what it sounds like, people are going to choose Andor.
Oh, it would have been Andor, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I would have
chosen Andor, yeah.
I think it was a Disney choice. Then I'm guessing Lucasfilm fought to have the 3-part start to that. So, anyways, that's coming out this month. Next up, they had another Lucasfilm property, not a Star Wars property, but Lucasfilm, which is Willow. There was the movie which starred Warwick Davis way back in the day. And this is an original. Yeah, definitely cult classic. And this is an original series on Disney Plus, which will be coming out on the 30th of November. And the trailer dropped, so we'll have that linked again.
I had seen pictures of like the practical effects being utilized for that set and stuff like that. So it's going to have very much of the original film's like heart. There's some interesting but kind of goofy, character and costume design and stuff like that in the original film. So
Yes.
hopefully they stick to
very
that
much.
pretty cleanly. But the trailer did look a little shiny, and I forget the actor's name, but his dialogue wasn't as like, I don't want to say gritty, but it felt like self-aware of the impact of the film itself. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just
I
kind
do
of
know
had
what you mean.
a boastfulness to the dialogue being said. But as far as the movie looked, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, the trailer, like I agree, it looked shiny. I don't know if I'll be watching it. I saw the original
Yeah.
movie once.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of the same. Like,
I'm definitely not a part of that original cult.
I think I saw most of that film in pieces, comprised multiple viewings on television. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
see 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I'm probably missing like 5 or 10 minutes of content out of the movie as a whole, just because I
Yeah.
skipped around so much. But you know what I mean? And shininess too, going back to briefly Hocus Pocus, it was kind of the same thing with that. It had like a little bit of a shininess to it. A couple shots look super good though in that trailer. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
that's
and-
spooky. It's like, this is good.
and with Hocus Pocus, just talking about that, I definitely saw where you could see it looked shiny, but
Mhm.
I mean,
They
it's
honed it in from time to time though. You could tell in the trailer. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, so it's not gonna be
but-
all that.
it's actually setting in a modern time frame.
Yeah, she's
So-
floating around on the
Little hoverboard.
she's
Yeah.
using the Roombas as her brooms.
Oh, is that
Remember
what it was?
Yeah, she was using the vacuum cleaner in the original one. It's two
Oh.
Roombas She's
I didn't-
floating
I
around
didn't-
like Iron Man.
I didn't catch that. I
Yeah.
just thought it was like a little,
Yeah, they're
hoverboard with wheels.
So it's
that's
just it's a
that's
carryover
great.
for the gags. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, I don't want to dwell on that movie too much, but we'll talk about that when that
Yeah,
rolls
well,
around. But
That will get
looks
its
fun.
time in the sun.
But there was a couple shots in there where I was like, "Ooh, that was a nice shot!" Like
Yeah.
she swoops in through the fog and like picks up one of the kids, and it just looked like a horror film real quick. I was like, "Ooh, nice!" So
Yeah.
stoked.
Yeah, Bad Batch. They didn't have anything much for that, but they did say it is going to be releasing on January 4th. There was speculations that it would be the end of this month.
Yeah, that's the one that got removed silently, right?
Yeah, so
Oh, no.
I'm guessing it's so that it doesn't butt up against Andor, so it actually gets viewership. Again, two different audience levels there. The first season of Bad Batch was, it's very much like Clone Wars, where it was a little bit more serious than your average kids show.
Mhm.
But it'll be a 16-episode season with a 2-episode premiere. Again, that's January 4th of next year.
I don't know. That sounds like a drop mid-December type decision to me. Kids
Yeah.
are going to be on vacation. They're going to be chilling, like they're going to have the opportunity to watch and consume. And some people, it would be comfort, being snowed in or what have you during the winter season. I mean, January 4th isn't too far later, but it's literally right at the end of any type of vacation that people are going to have.
Yep. I also think it might be so it doesn't butt up against Tales of the Jedi, which was
When is that?
next. I'm talking about that next. In
Alright.
fact, so they announced that it was going to be dropping on Disney Plus on October 26th, and it's going to be a 6-episode mini series, and it's going to be focusing on the backstories of Ahsoka and Dooku. And the trailer dropped, and it looks really nice.
Super good. Yeah, super good. Yeah, I guess that is like 6-week span, right?
Yeah.
If that's going to be the case. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. I would choose that over Bad Batch, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
but
would
still-
rather watch that on the break than Bad Batch.
Yeah, but still, like there would be. If we take 6 weeks from November, that's still the middle of December that they could release it. So I'm guessing that they're going to have some. They've done the gallery, or Star Wars gallery, where it's like the making of.
Yeah.
They'll probably do something for Andor in that time frame. Maybe Andor should still be going in that time frame if it's 12 episodes.
Hmm.
But then do a gallery episode for Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah. It does look super good though, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like And then the one Sith, the Inquisitor, at the end of that trailer was super badass.
Yeah, that mask looks really
Yeah.
really nice.
It's like one of the best. I'm not gonna say like character designs because I saw a full body of him, and he just kind of looks like almost like Kylo Ren, but less steampunky. Pretty clean cut in terms of like the body design, but the helmet is like super sick. It's like top tier design in my opinion.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like the race that General Grievous is, but on second viewing, it's not. It's like a full blown mask. The dude looks sinister.
Yeah. What do you think he is? Like the what brother?
I don't know what brother he'll be, but I can tell you right now, he's the guy that Ahsoka kills without a lightsaber, and then uses the crystals from his lightsaber to create her white lightsabers.
Oh, is that it?
I'm pretty sure.
Was that story ever hit on, or was it just kind of like a mention in the? Because that was
It's in a book.
Ooh, damn, that's gonna be dope.
Yes.
Okay, so that's probably gonna be my top anticipated, Star Wars project.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, in the trailer, I mean, we saw a young Qui-Gon Jinn, and I'm all about Qui-Gon Jinn. So
Yeah, you get that. You get Dooku in his more middle aged and kind of like treading the line.
still Jedi.
Yeah, still a Jedi, but he's being yelled at quite a bit.
By Mace Windu, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
did you notice that his lightsaber still has the curved hilt and everything, but it's just blue?
I didn't look at I saw the blade color. I didn't look at the hilt.
Yeah. Interesting.
So he just went and swapped the crystals.
Well, I mean, in canon now, they do the bleeding of the crystals where you put your anger and hatred into the crystal and it turns red because it bleeds, and it's stupid, but that's probably what happened.
They gotta have some way of explaining why all of the Sith have just red lightsabers.
Yeah.
You vary from red any bit and it becomes. I mean, what's her face is pink?
Who's?
Riva. Was Riva's
No, it was
pink?
red.
Was it? Because I
Yeah.
think it was my TV color was like slightly off because it looked like a hot pink. I was like, ooh, that's dope.
No, it's red.
Nope.
Yep.
Almost.
Yeah, but I think, like, at least with canon to date, a Sith needs to get their lightsaber crystal by killing a Jedi. So, just the thought process here. We saw Yaddle in the trailer, and we know Yaddle doesn't show up after Episode 1. What if that's Dooku's first kill, and then he uses the crystal from Yaddle's lightsaber to make the red crystal?
How dare they leave Yaddle out of this? I mean, she had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but her character design looked pretty good. Gotta give her that.
It just looked like Yoda, but with
hair,
like a man bun or whatever, like a ponytail.
Yeah. So they had a little panel, after that they had Dave Filoni come up on stage and talked about Ahsoka. They're still filming Ahsoka. They showed a couple images from the series. They had one with Sabine looking at the big design or picture that she painted in Rebels. It's very, very pretty. It's like an actual prop that they painted themselves, like directly from Rebels. It's really cool and kind of striking. Then they had a couple pictures of just Ahsoka herself. One looked okay. So I know you haven't seen Rebels. You need to.
Not all of it, but yeah.
There is a place called the World Between Worlds in Star Wars. It's a legitimate thing now, and there is a temple that she's standing in that has the markings of the World Between Worlds, and that gets me really excited.
Is that the one with the god type creature and then the two children?
No, it's related, but that's Mortis. That's like a planet. That's like the god planet of Star Wars.
That was cool.
So,
I remember watching that. I was like, oh, this is neat.
Yeah, the sun is pretty scary in that.
They're very, very well portrayed as two ends of a very distinct spectrum.
Yeah, with the dad being in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that picture got me really really excited. Then there was just another picture with Ahsoka and her lightsaber out, and that was looked good. They've done some stuff with the prosthetics for her like Leku and everything. Well,
I mean, it's
all
because she was going to have dramatic fight scenes, dude. You don't want those things flopping around and getting in the way and chopped off and shit. But
yeah.
I get it.
Well,
I get it.
and I mean, we've only seen her really in other content in animated stuff, so they can do whatever they want in that. While it's a little bit more, you have to be a little bit more constrained in
A little practical.
in live action stuff. So I
It
get
did look funny though. Like when I saw the comparisons, I was like, she does look better on the cartoon, just because
Yep.
the proportions are more accurate than what you would expect. I didn't notice
Yeah.
it all that much though, and they did do quite a bit to cover it with her hood and stuff.
Yeah, but the way that they're doing it with the actual series, it looks better. That's everything about Ahsoka that they were willing to release today. They next showed, or they talked about the Skeleton Crew show, which is they say it's not a kids show, but it's featuring a group of kids who got lost in the Star Wars universe in the New Republic era. With
Star Wars, Stranger Things.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
But Jude Law is the main character of
Dumbledore.
that. Yep, and
Bring him in.
Yep, but they actually released a screenshot, or not a screenshot, but the first image from shooting that, and it's just Jude Law.
It just looks like Jude Law standing there. As
but
Jude
the
Law.
kids are in the background,
They are,
and
yeah.
it looks like there's an alien race or two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some droid-like things in the foreground.
I know we talked about it briefly, but are the kids like Jedi Temple escapees, or are they just randos?
We have no clue.
Yeah, what if they're
At,
just
at
like...
this point, it would be in the New Republic side, so it'd be either like kids that the Empire stole, like getting ready for the Inquisitorius.
Do we know a time frame?
Yeah, New Republic. So after Return of the Jedi.
After Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. That's all they've said on timeline. They haven't said if it's same timeline as Mandalorian or if it's further, like closer to the sequels. There's no information beyond New Republic.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it was after Episode 3, after Order 66, then maybe it was like a group of escapees who,
Yeah,
they all have they all have their varying opinions about what's going on, and kind of have like this Lord of the Flies type of storyline. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that type of stuff. We'll see.
Anyways, the droids in the foreground look like the little like ball droid that comes out of Jabba's wall and
Yeah, the
like
eye.
just starts talking to like C-3PO. It looks exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to Tatooine, and like the screenshot looks like there might be some dunes in the background. So actually, what if they're going to go visit Boba Fett in his new castle?
What if they are the children versions of the Vespa crew?
Oh no.
I don't like that thought, but that just popped in my head right now.
Yeah. Like I said, they only released the one screenshot or the image from the show. They're still filming, and they'll be filming probably for several more months. However, Jon Favreau did talk about how this came about. He and the director for the show were working on Spider-Man together, and they kept on talking about this idea about the Skeleton Crew. And then after Spider-Man ended, Jon Favreau was like, okay, let's do this. And the director was like, really? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So they did it. Or are doing it, I guess. Anyway, so that seems fun. Getting some Marvel people or other Marvel people involved.
Sounds like a Jon Favreau thing too.
Well, yeah. So
I mean, Jude Law's got acting chops, so it's going to be solid. So
yeah,
I'm cool.
Yeah, they had a little spot for Mandalorian season 3. They had all of the main actors come up. So they had the lady who plays Pelly, the guy, or they had Moff Gideon, Mando, and
I the whole like trailer thing too, with it mentioning from like the Comic-Con leak footage that you described. I made the correlation in my head when I saw the salacious crumbs in the trees. I was like, oh, this is that trailer. I was like, yes,
yeah.
yes,
Well,
that's my new wallpaper. Yes.
Yeah. So, the trailer that they showed at Disney Celebration, very similar. They changed some of the lining of which shots are where, and it's a little bit extended compared to the one that they showed at Disney Celebration or Star Wars Celebration. But I mean,
Was
they
it Star
had,
Wars Celebration? Oh, it was. Yeah,
yeah, it was,
Yeah, it was. It wasn't Comic Con because they weren't at Comic Con.
yeah, because they did Star Wars Celebration.
They're too good for Comic Con. That's right.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they like to have the little exclusive aspect. I mean, they have enough content though to where they can literally have their own show like this, you know. But
Yeah.
I get kind of salty because I do want to see some of the stuff at Comic Con and other shows and stuff. But whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, it was really, really nice to see we saw the trailer from D23 that was leaked. That was like super granulated, cell phone to cell phone recording, really shaky.
Yeah.
You'd miss some things. But I mean, this was just crystal clear. It was beautiful.
Good music, solid sound. It was very impactful.
Yep. Well, and there was the one shot where it was over Mandalore and you saw the destroyed city just right there. That was
Super
like,
clean shot.
oh.
Yeah, coming out of the clouds and you're looking down.
I mean, we have some action shots of multiple Mandalorians that we haven't seen before that are like in the drop ship and
the drop ship
doing their stuff. That looked
good too.
Oh, so good. This is probably like I'm a Star Wars fan, so I mean, this was the highlight for the whole weekend for me.
I'm thinking for everybody, like
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
probably.
I mean, that Mandalorian is they gotta work to lose fans on that one right now. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about it. There's a long break between the two seasons, right?
Yeah.
God, we're gonna be almost 2 years, year and a
Yeah.
half.
Almost two and a half, almost actually, because last year we had Book of Boba Fett, and it's not releasing in October when it would have. The other shot I want to talk about, it's almost at the end of the trailer, where Mando's flying out with Grogu, and there's like all these fireworks coming off, and it looks like it's Tatooine. Like they're just shooting off fireworks. It's very stunning shot.
Maybe a flashback to the celebration of the fall of the Empire.
No, there's Mando in his Naboo ship. Starfighter.
Interesting.
So, it could be a different world, other than Tatooine, but from the light glimmers that the fireworks give, it looks like Tatooine.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You can't have a single Star Wars property without Tatooine popping up.
Well, right now we have Peli as like the anchor in and I guess Boba Fett too. Crap. So like, there's two people.
Yes. The anchor is Star Wars. The anchor to Tatooine is Star Wars as a whole. There's no way around it. We're gonna go back to the Old Republic and somehow find a way to get back to Tatooine. I guarantee it.
Yep. Maybe, hey,
Yeah.
You know what? If we go back to the Old Republic, maybe we'll see Tatooine as a ocean planet.
Yeah, what if it's like
up.
an ocean planet and it's all like gorgeous and like Atlantic, or Atlantis, I should say, like that type
that'd
of.
be pretty cool.
And then it's just this scummy, disgusting dirt planet later. That'd be pretty funny. I don't think that's going to happen in 1,000 or 2,000 years, though. It'd take a little bit longer than that, but we'll see.
Yeah. The last Lucasfilm property that they showed was Indiana Jones 5. However, they hinted but did not confirm that it's just going to be called Indiana Jones. They did confirm that Harrison Ford's, or this would be the last inclusion of Harrison Ford. So that is, he spoke and I don't know if he got emotional or just choked up or what have you. It's with Harrison Ford, it's so hard to tell because he's a little grizzly.
No, he was having a hard time talking.
He's
like,
old.
No, it was emotion or like nervousness. It was like that type of public speaking, where you're trying to say something and you're having a hard time like keeping your voice in the same like range, and you got that little rattle. It was like that. But at the same time, he played it off in certain cases where it did 100% seem like it was just emotion. Like he knew that it was over and that this was this was the last one, and like you had mentioned that this is like the only role that he like truly like loves.
Yeah.
And he adores and doesn't want to see anybody else in it, which I mean doesn't really make sense with the last one, which I didn't think it was that terrible of a movie. It was pretty bad, but it's watchable. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But
Now, I know when he agreed to do episode 7 for Star Wars, that one of the contingencies is that he got to do Indiana Jones, or the next Indiana Jones. What I don't know is if he made some stipulation that no one else can play the role until he dies, or who knows.
I mean, we talked about that comment that he said, remember? It was in one of our roundups where he said, like, don't you get it? Like, I am Indiana Jones. Like, when I die, the character dies with me type thing. Which is totally fine, man. Like, we don't need everything to carry over 80 years. And like,
we don't need remakes of every single thing.
You remember in the 90s where remakes were explicitly for movies that sucked? Do you remember that? Like, that's how remakes used to be handled. For all the people out there that don't remember or are too young to remember, remakes of movies were reserved for movies that were terrible, like movies that needed to be remade and redone better. Not taking something that people love and adore and then milking it for money. Like that's what it's become now. And it's not, I don't even consider it the same way of like taking Lion King the cartoon and then making a live action film of it. Like that's not the same. I'm talking about like taking something like Ghostbusters and then remaking it, because 2016 was a remake. I don't care how they describe it, it was a remake. When you have the characters making cameos and they're not their characters, like it's a remake. So this whole concept of taking something that's actually good and then remaking it because somebody else has a different idea, like I'm not a fan of that business. So
but it would be a different thing if it was an expansion of the original property, but not a direct copy. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm there too.
Yep. So they transitioned into Marvel really quickly after they got done talking about Indiana Jones. There was no mention of any of the purported movies that are in development from Lucasfilm. We understand, or are led to understand, that there's at least 5 movies in development for Star Wars properties right now, and none of them were mentioned. So that was kind of sad to not hear anything. And it sounds like there's been a couple articles, I don't know if you saw over the last week, where Kathleen Kennedy might be having some reservations about greenlighting some of these actual projects that have been, touted for months or years at this point, that she's just not willing to give the green light on. They immediately started talking about Wakanda Forever. They showed an exclusive trailer, which had a lot of new footage. There was a couple shots that were described, but sounds like most people are playing pretty close to the chest on that one. Released for November 22nd, that hasn't changed. Then they talked about Ironheart next. An exclusive teaser was shown featuring Riri and Parker Robbins, aka The Hood. They basically boiled it down to it's like a dark arts versus technology, and like that's the unique part of Ironheart.
There's been leaked pictures of the suit like on toys and stuff like that. More of that stuff has come out. I mean, it's whatever. We talked about this when it came to the Marvel stuff. It's like, this should be Iron Lad, and having Ironheart come out of nowhere is like, all right, well, it's a bait and switch, to be honest.
Yeah. They talked about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania next. They showed a full trailer there. Again, exclusive to D23. There's shots of Kang and shots of, obviously Ant-Man and Wasp and some of the other characters that are in the movie.
I can't find a single picture or clip or anything of Kang.
Yeah, they are playing so close to the chest on that one, and I don't know how they were controlling phones there, but I saw like 0 leaked information when I was like going through Twitter. either it's going to come out in the next few days, or
Yeah.
Disney got really good about like blocking pictures on their phones
I
or
mean,
something.
you got pictures of like the Thunderbolts popping up that look all ass, and you got pictures of like other trailers and stuff that are showing like, stills. And it's like, I just wanted a picture of what Kang looked like.
Yeah.
Like, is he Kang the Conqueror? You know what I mean? Like, I know there was a line in there where he's like, "Did I kill you already?"
Yeah.
Like, you all kind like you all become one or something like that. Like, basically making reference like, I've dealt with you people so many times that it's like you don't even know me, but I've killed you thousands of times, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
it would be sick. I mean, that whole premise of that movie is gonna be dope, but
Yep.
I like a little bit, give me a screenshot, man.
Yep. Anyways, Kevin Feige said that Ant-Man 3 begins a direct line into the Kang Dynasty. So that will be our speed train, if you will, to the Kang Dynasty, which I'm all about. I think that's going to be a great arc
Yeah.
for the Marvel Universe. Next up, and I think we're both excited about this one, Werewolf by Night. This was a complete surprise. It's been speculated for better part of a year, but no official confirmation from anyone. And they dropped a full trailer for everyone, and it's coming out October 7th.
I watch that in the hotel room, actually, at Disney World. But
Ooh.
to describe this movie to people that don't know what it is, it looks like it's embracing your B-rate film, your 80s, 70s, stalker slasher type of monster film. It's in black and white. Not sure if the trailer's in black and white. I think the entire film is, which it really should be, because it looked good.
The trailer's in black and white. And to expand on that, the director actually talked about how they were trying to portray a 30s and 40s feel of horror movies from that period.
I wouldn't go that far back,
But that was the direct quote.
Yeah. I'm just it definitely gave off a feel like an Ed Wood type of film, which isn't that far back, but it is far back there. I think overall, though, this is probably the one thing that I was like stoked for the most once I saw it, because it's so goofy. It's intentionally shot like a B film, so I mean, it might be a little self-aware, kind of like the first couple episodes of WandaVision, but the way they shot the trailer, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it would play better in black and white, especially when you see him like cutting people open and like flinging body parts around. Like,
yeah, you see that in the trailer very briefly,
but you don't see blood, and that's how the rating systems work, right? So it's like, The Shining, for example, was like a huge issue. Like, trying to get the elevator scene with the blood and stuff was like a huge issue. However, you got things like Kill Bill, where the movie intentionally goes black and white so that they could have excessive gore and get it past ratings, because it can't be red. It's why the monsters can be ripped to shreds in Infinity War, because their blood is purple or blue or what have you. The same thing with what's her face getting thrown up by Wanda into like the meat grinder, essentially, and her guts and blood being splattered everywhere, but it's blue, so it doesn't matter. So that was my thing with the trailer. I was like, damn, that's pretty gory, but I get it. It's black and white, so they can get away with it. So if it's not going to be black and white, then it's like, oh, okay, so let's see what's going on here, So I'm here for it. That movie looks dope, just because it's so like weird, and that's kind of what I want. If they're going to go weird, I'd rather they not go Love and Thunder, which I saw, and I'd rather they go this way. Kind of like the first couple episodes, like I mentioned, of WandaVision was very weird, but people love it because it's creative, it's unique.
Yep, and they're calling this a Marvel Studio special presentation. So I don't know if it's going to be a full movie or if it's going to be like a 60-minute little short film.
I think it probably will be like a 60-minute short film, but I also think that that's not necessarily anything other than them hearkening back to that television vibe that you would get, right? You like Friday night movie premiere, and they had like that screen that would always show and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just them, and that was a super dope intro too. Like, I truly love all the Marvel intros for the most part. That one just had a nice catchy tune. It did kind of feel that way, you know. It felt like what they were going for, and at the same time, it looked modern, you know. So
Yeah.
I dug it. Yeah, that's my number one for the entire show, really.
This is probably my 2 or 3. I really like it. This is not my typical jam, but it just has such a different feel,
Yeah,
and
a
I'm
little goofy.
intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yep. The director on stage, let's see, where was it? Described it as described it as darker and scary but fun. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Again, the trailer was released, so we'll have that in the description. Next up was Secret Invasion. I was actually surprised that they released a trailer for this. So they brought out Don Cheadle, and they said, "Oh, he's going to talk about 2 shows." And I was like, "Okay, we're talking about Armor Wars and like Captain America or Ironheart or whatever." And it was Secret Invasion, and they showed the trailer. It's going to be coming out in 2023, and it'll be 6 episodes, just like all the other Marvel series to date.
And this is not to be confused with Secret Wars, which is also coming.
Correct. This is Secret Invasion. Sorry about that.
This is Secret. No, you didn't say it wrong. I'm just saying, like, for anybody listening out
yeah.
there, the Secret Invasion and Secret Wars are 2 different things. And I think Secret Wars is slated for Phase 6, right? Isn't that what comes before
Yes.
King? That's like one of the last 2. So this is going to be an overarching story plot, and it's a very important story plot in Marvel history, you know. So,
Secret Wars is going to be after the King Dynasty.
oh, I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, so we have Avengers: The King Dynasty coming out May 2nd of 2025. Then Avengers: Secret Wars November 7th, 2025.
Damn, I don't know how those are 2 juicy like plots. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how they meld those together, but there's a difference between those, and this one's gonna be very. You had Emilia Clarke in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she makes her appearance for the first time. Another Game of Thrones actor
And Star Wars.
being introduced into the MCU. You had
They had several new people in that show. Anyway, so I really liked the trailer. Had some definite scroll action, which I'm all about.
it's a good story plot, but I mean, you don't want to skimp over the fact that this is Sam Jackson's movie. You know what I mean? This is finally his.
This
film.
is his series.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like this is his focus, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
this is his story for a change, which is nice. You know,
Yeah.
been around for the entire time, so it's nice to see him kind of be in a main seat. You know what I mean? He's had definitely some main roles, but you know this one's definitely gonna be focusing on him because he had that direct experience up in space and stuff like that. So
Yep. Anyways, that's coming out next year. They didn't say when next year. It said 2023. So sometime next year we'll get Secret Invasion. Then Don Cheadle immediately talked about Armor Wars. In Comic-Con, that it was like mysteriously missing from all of the information that they put out. And there was articles that came out saying, "Oh, it's still going on, trust us," type of thing. But from the horse's mouth, Don Cheadle himself, they're starting to shoot next year. It'll be 6-episode series. They had no graphics other than the logo for it.
Yeah. I'm truly hoping that there's some meat on this bone, because as a character, like, I just don't even care about War Machine and Rhodey. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, and I was like front row and center for Iron Man 2, you know, to see War Machine. I remember the trailer the first time you saw them, it cut to them like back to back shooting. It was super dope. But really, I mean, he's second fiddle to Iron Man, you know, and we ran that gambit. We're done.
Yep.
So it's like, this kind of seems like they're keeping him around because they want like an Iron Man type character. And once they get Ironheart established, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, you can go. So
Yep.
I give Iron. I mean, we already talked about it last week. I think it was. You got Punisher. You know, you can get Punisher War Machine going, and that would be super sick.
Yeah. We'll see what they do again, but they said that they're shooting that series next year, so we're probably looking at a 2024 release on that. Next up, they talked about Loki season 2, and they confirmed that. They had a very short teaser where it's picking up directly where season 1 leaves off, where Loki's just chilling in the TVA and everything's turned to king. Then Mobius and B-15 show up, and B-15 is the very serious lady hunter that was in the TVA, but they don't know who our Loki is at this point. Very interesting. The other interesting tidbit that they shared is Ki-Gai Kwan joins the cast. He was in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom as the kid, you know?
Yes.
So he'll be coming to that. I don't know how they'll interweave him, but Kevin Feige said that this will really interweave where we're at and everything else with the King storyline.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it seems like it's the main premise of that show, the
Yep.
reason for its existence. You know what I mean?
Yep. Then very, very briefly, they had the Fantastic Four logo up. Kevin Feige confirmed Matt Shackman as the director, and then literally said, "I have nothing else to say right now."
What an ass. So yeah, we talked about Matt Shackman last week. It's the individual that directed multiple episodes of Game of Thrones, House, like literally almost everything you could possibly think of on television. We had speculated that if they did take who was it from The Office?
John Krasinski.
Yeah, but what was his character?
Jim.
If we took Jim and we had him in Fantastic Four, and then we had somebody who had done, sitcom writing and kind of has an understanding of that headspace to get some funny stuff out of it, it would be interesting. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, this might actually be a good thing if Krasinski does get swept up for it.
Yeah.
I know that there was rumors that, all the rumors, but the actress from Free Guy, I forget her name, she was rumored to be potentially Sue Storm, which, I mean, she looks the part for some of the more recent comic books, like almost identical. She's a
Maybe
good
that's on
actress.
purpose.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, she did a pretty fun job in Free Guy. I'm not sure if you saw that movie, but
I did.
Yeah, it was whatever. It definitely whatever. The concept was like, it seems like it was a good idea at one point, and then kind of got taken somewhere where it probably shouldn't have gone. You know what I mean? Like, story wise, but there's some stuff floating around in terms of that. But all in all, pretty upset that there was no Fantastic Four information.
Yeah.
I'm like internally livid.
I thought they were going to confirm casting, and they didn't.
The very
so
least,
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, you have also rumors of Seth Rogen as the Thing, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
There's other speculations too. What about Brandon Fraser? That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk. We don't have a roundup this week. I wanted to talk about that, but it's nice to see him get the recognition. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did.
6
So
minutes
for the whale, right?
Yeah, 6 minute standing ovation, and he had people waiting to take pictures when he came back home for the first time in decades or whatever. And
yeah, well then,
it's nice to see.
I mean, Dwayne Johnson posted a video. I mean, Dwayne Johnson is very hit and miss for me. Like, there's some things that are really great from him, and some things are like, I could have done without that. However, he paid a really nice tribute through a video that he posted this week about him, and just saying how he helped kickstart his career and how grateful he was.
I think it was his first film, wasn't it? The Scorpion
I think
King?
so.
Yeah, and it was horrible.
If not, it was his second one, but still, that got The Rock in people's minds.
Yeah, because he had no dialogue in that movie. I remember that distinctly, and a lot of it was CGI. Him as like a big scorpion or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, his introduction into movies, and yeah, because of that, he did go on to be who he is. But Brendan Fraser, big
he's in
teddy bear,
2 or 3 movies a year now.
Oh yeah, easily. And now it seems like he's running DC. I guess. He just took the
We'll
helm.
see. So so we talked about, I mean, that was Fantastic Four. Everything about Fantastic Four was very
we can
much
fire
nothing.
through these last ones here pretty quickly because they seem pretty lackluster.
Yeah. They talked about Echo, and that's the girl named Maya from Hawkeye.
I did appreciate their welcome when she came into the room. They
Yep.
all did the applause hands because
Yep.
she's
she
deaf.
is deaf.
Yeah.
And they did have someone translating in sign language when she was on stage, so that was kind of cool to see. But they did reveal that Kingpin was going to be in the show. They had a first look, or an exclusive first look, and from the description, Kingpin had some bandages
An eye
all
patch.
over the place, and
Yeah.
so that will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's assuming that he got shot in the face at the end of what was it, Hawkeye?
Yeah.
And that he actually did get shot in the face instead of like grabbing the gun out of her hand or whatever. But yeah, well, we'll see. They're making him progressively bigger and bigger too, which is like nice. He's looking more and more like the character.
Yep. But the series has wrapped filming and they're in post now. So that will be coming. They didn't say when it will be coming, but assume late next year. Then they talked about Daredevil for just a minute. They said they're going to be beginning filming probably at the beginning of next year. They showed a very short clip from She-Hulk featuring Daredevil. They really kind of brushed by that. Next up was Captain America: New World Order. Some juicy bits. Tim Blake Nelson is returning from Incredible Hulk as the leader. I'm
People who don't know, it's the scientist, Mr. Blue, who he goes and sees, and at the end of the scuffle with Abomination, the blood or something, I think it's the blood, drops onto his forehead, which makes his head kind of pulse. Well, in the comics, he's a green character, and his forehead is kind of embiggened, it's gigantic. And
well, in the movie, he like got some scratches or bumped his head right before that, so the blood actually mixed in everything.
It's the same exact way as She-Hulk,
Yeah.
Which is weird because now you have two conflicting reactions to the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't know that until just this very second. But okay.
Yep. The other part that was interesting is Carl Lumbly is returning as Isaiah Bradley from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's a really good callback to bring him in. They didn't really say much else. They showed the logo for the movie, which was the new logo, so that was cool. Nothing else. The last bit of big information is they had casting news for Thunderbolts. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's going to be in as Val. We already saw her in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. David Harbour is returning as Red Guardian from the Black Widow movie. And same as Florence Pugh as Yelena.
Who wasn't at the show. She phoned it in.
She phoned it in.
And she's presumed the leader of this crew.
Yes, I have thoughts about that for another time. But Wyatt Russell's coming back as Walker / U.S. agent. Hannah John Kamen is coming in as the Ghost, and Sebastian Stan as Bucky. They did not have any casting, but they did confirm that Taskmaster will also be a part of the cast.
It's the same chick. It's confirmed. I watched it. Yeah, and everybody's returning. It's all returning cast.
They didn't have anybody listed for Taskmaster, and they didn't have a physical person for Taskmaster there.
Oh, I heard physically. I heard like on the intros when they were introducing people on stage, they said returning as Taskmaster.
Okay.
So it is confirmed. Everybody's confirmed.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm the last person that wants that confirmed. In the absolute worst version of that character. Yes. Unfortunately.
Yep. Then lastly, they had a Marvels trailer. So Zawe Ashton character, here's the juicy tidbit, was shown wielding an accuser's hammer. So the Kree guy that was all mad in Guardians of the Galaxy that had the big hammer that put the Infinity Stone in, that's the accuser's hammer, or an accuser's hammer. So that will be interesting to see if she's Kree or not. Then They also confirmed that Goose is going to return. I mean, the best little kitty. I mean, Flurkin. You know, I love the Flurkin.
Do you know how that works?
Which?
Do you know how that character works?
No.
So basically, it is a portal dimension inside of it. So when it eats things, it actually is like a galactic portal system, and it's like horrific or some shit. it's like this whole weird concept. It's not just like it's a monster that eats. It's like it contains like some like galactic like essence. It's insane. Like it's read up on that animal. It's insane, and that's why Rocket was like, bro, like, are you serious? In the comics was like, you should get rid of that thing like right now. Yeah.
Anyways, I like Goose. I like Flurkin.
No, yeah, it's a cute kitty, and it doesn't do anything except for that one scene where it's like horrific and shit. But
then that was it for the Marvel panel. I was surprised that they didn't have any confirmations or anything else regarding any of the blank spots they have in the movie lineup for the next couple of years. Because there's eight blank spots, and
there's like eight properties removed from the timeline of Phase 6 shown at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And basically this entire time, and the reason to stay calm and not get worked up was that the 8 properties that were missing from that timeline were being saved for D23, presumed to be Scarlet Witch property, a Fantastic Four property, potential for some type of X-Men introduction, something, maybe a Silver Surfer mention, anything juicy. But really all this ended up being was a rehash and a further delve into what was announced at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
There was a lot to talk about, but really when you boil it down to it, it was very little that was actually like shown, announced and premiered. It was very minimal. The rest was like, so it's this director, or here is the cast. It is who you thought it was. Like, confirmed this movie is coming out on this day. It wasn't like now you've all been waiting for it. Here is the Professor X movie, and like it being about his like growing. Here's the Magneto movie. Like it wasn't that. There was no juicy Fantastic Four is coming and here's our actors. Like it was kind of lackluster. Like we got some juicy stuff we talked about in here, but really if it wasn't Star Wars, it wasn't happening really. So
anyways, it was just the Marvel section was particularly disappointing because we had 2 trailers and that we actually get to see if you weren't there, but there's 3 other full trailers that were exclusive to D23. Who knows, they might be coming in a month or 2, or we're probably going to get one of them when
we'll get them. They'll leak.
Yeah, they'll come eventually.
Something happened. They must have kill cell service and shut off Wi-Fi in that room, because typically you at least get some stuff squeaking out, but I don't know.
Yep. Then lastly, 20th Century Fox took to the floor, and the only property they showed was Avatar: The Way of the Water. And they had the cast come out. James Cameron phoned in from New Zealand. Yeah. Then they showed several scenes in 3D. They handed out 3D glasses to everyone that was there, and they watched it. Everyone said that it was immersive and beautiful, and said nothing about the plot that they saw.
Yeah, literally, he's still handing out 3D glasses. That's really what it comes down to. You got to make the sales, and that's what sells avatars. 3D, IMAX 3D.
Yeah, and I have thoughts on 3D stuff. I'm in technology. I last year, I literally saw a laptop where you didn't need glasses, and it had the full 3D effect, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. Wait till we can get that in an IMAX theater, then do all the 3D crap you want. Yeah. Until then, chill, James Cameron.
And then they can do bring back the Cinedome at ArcLight. I don't know if you know what the Cinedome is, but it's a little dome in the middle of Hollywood, and it's spiky and white. And inside, it was a curved monitor, like a curved screen. It was their number 1 theater. They had other regular theaters, but if you got the dome viewing, then you got to sit in this round room that was it was perfected for audio and the video, and kind of like an IMAX before IMAX,
Okay.
and you know, with that type of stuff, and then having some type of 3D. Oh my god, that'd be so crazy. That would be
Yeah.
so crazy. But like an IMAX 3D is like gives you a headache, dude. You gotta look down to see the bottom of the screen and like look up to see the top. You know what I mean? Like it's so
Yeah.
massive, and watching that in 3D, it was just like I wasn't watching something popping out. It was like I was standing in the middle of what was popping out because it was so gigantic. So that was
Yeah.
my issue with Avatar. It gave me a headache.
Well, even with, I mean, I had a 3D TV for a while. It was like a passive TV where you still had glasses, but it was just polarized for the different lenses.
Yeah,
Even with that, you got a little bit of a headache, and you didn't have to move your head at all.
yeah,
Um, I mean, it's a gimmick. They'll improve the technology over time. I mean, they already are, like that laptop I talked about.
yeah.
Um, Overall, my initial thoughts, good things. I really liked Mandalorian season 3 trailer. I liked Werewolf by Night, right? Yep. Then I really like the Secret Invasion trailer. They all look great. I'm excited for those things. My bad thoughts. Not a whole bunch of new information on Star Wars or Marvel. Just a lot of information we already knew. And I mean, they reused the trailers from Comic-Con or Star Wars Celebration anyways, from at least what it sounds like. But then there was just so many exclusive trailers across the board. So like who knows what else they? I mean, they
You
could
gotta have a draw.
show 'em.
You know,
Yeah.
being there when they announce stuff is nice, but also getting stuff that nobody else can get is even nicer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I like to get bitter at that type of stuff, but I've also been in those rooms before, and I truly cherished being able to have information and that type of thing that other people didn't. You know what I mean? It's just part of it. It's why you go. You know, so
Yeah, but
I get it.
my biggest sad and bad thing is no information on the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all right though. I think a lot of people were kind of all right when it came to just chilling out a little bit. Let them spin their wheels a little bit with the Disney Plus stuff, and maybe just come to their senses and be like, you know what, let's just do a different trilogy, like somewhere completely different in like a different time and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, at this point, I don't even care if they do a trilogy, if they do a solo film or a duo of films or whatever you want to call, like whatever. I want to know.
yeah.
I want more content, expanded content, not rehashed content.
Wars of the Stars Episode 1. It's a complete reboot, a different side universe. Ryan Johnson helmed with Zack Snyder penning the script.
If that happens, I will be.
I'd be distraught. You're like, all right, well, I'm
Yep.
done. So yeah, that is. You got any more disappointments for it?
No, I mean, I don't have a lot of other thoughts, feelings. I'm just disappointed in the lack of announcements in general.
Yeah.
There was potential and rumors for so much more that just didn't happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're sitting at about, I don't know, an hour and a half or so far in the show, and I'll probably cut it down quite a bit. So we'll just fire through the rest here. And I got my highlights and disappointments.
Go ahead.
My highlights are Amelia Clark joining Secret Invasion. I like that. I like to see her involved in some Marvel stuff, so that's always good. Gal Gadot as the choice for the Evil Queen, Grimhilda, is
Yep.
pretty tight. I like that. Tim Blake Nelson returning as the leader is like a win. Buster Scruggs is like one of my favorite movies of the last like 10 years. So, you know, seeing him get work, he just seems like just a basic dude. So seeing him get like big time work is nice. And I know he was super appreciative of being brought in with it. He's like, it's like a huge honor, you know what I mean? So he's all about it. Werewolf by Night looks great. I'm going to watch it. It is what it is. I didn't look into it. I know it's a character, and it's kind of like one of those offside Marvel characters where it's like, it's almost like a gimmick in terms of it being a comic to begin with, but you know, it exists out there, and the way they did it and the way they're bringing it, it's like, oh, perfect. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a universal monster type of approach, and I dig it. Jamie Lee Curtis being added to the Haunted Mansion. Jamie Lee Curtis is bae. She's so sassy. I love it. I
She's
personally,
been in everything.
she's been in a lot of stuff, you know, and you know, I know she could be a little judgy about this type of stuff, but at the same time, she's willing to play ball. And my personal recommendation was that she play Madam Web, because not only does she like look like Madam Web, but Madam Web is older. I think she'd fit the role. She's a badass. She's a great actress. Like, it would have been perfect. But they announced a much younger cast for that. And that's pretty much it for my highlights. I mean, I mentioned a couple things that I liked in there, but really what stood out to me was those. My disappointment, Yaddle.
Yeah.
How dare they even mention Yaddle, let alone probably kill her off, you know what I mean? But, you know, whatever. Just didn't like seeing Yaddle. Leave her alone. No Wolverine or Spider-Man 2 info, footage, or trailers. Absolutely nothing. I just beside myself. Like the Marvel Games segment was trash. It was super trash. I'm like, yeah, Midnight Suns looks like an awesome game until you see it being played, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. I know people like that XCOM type gameplay and stuff like that, but it's like Gotham Knights, you know, kind of giving off a vibe that it really is a different game than it is, which is a little bit closer in that sense, but I don't know. This one, it just doesn't seem right. I had mentioned a game in a previous episode where it's like the trailer looked really good, but the game was like completely different and was a buzzkill. I think we were talking about some Survivor game in, I think it was last week, Gamescom show. It was Baldur's Gate that I was thinking about. And the trailer for that being super epic. And then when I saw gameplay, I was like, what is this? What is this? The side game for the actual game? But no, it's just, that's the game style. So that's what I got, you know, from that. No Thunderbolt Ross for Red Hulk, or Red Hulk mentioned for the Thunderbolts, which is kind of like the only reason why I would want to watch Thunderbolts would be to see Red Hulk. With the actor that played Thunderbolt Ross dying, what's the recasting potential on that? I heard Tom Hanks is interested if somebody were to call him. And I think that if you spruced him up, that Tom Hanks could get close to what that actor was vibing on, and then having Tom Hanks be a Hulk would be awesome. It would just be fun. It'd be fun to see, you know what I mean? Like, he'd have the big bushy mustache, which I think in a most recent film he has a mustache and looks kind of close. So, you know, there's potential there, but just the lack of Thunderbolt Ross and the Red Hulk in the Thunderbolts is ridiculous to me. And then putting What's-Her-Face at the front of that team is like, okay, dude, so, all right. Student teachers on duty, you know what I mean? it's like all right, whatever. And then you got no Baron Zemo on that too, which irked me. I was like, okay, so,
and that could still happen with Baron Zemo. I think that if we're being honest with ourselves at this point, unless they recast Thunderbolt, Zemo is the logical choice to have as the leader for the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, or maybe he's the villain in this film. Who knows? But I want him involved. I think we've already discussed this. I think he's one of the better villains of the MCU. So they need to utilize him at full capacity. Fantastic Four, aside from Matt Shakman being helmed as the director of that film, you know, you got nothing from it. I'm just not happy about that. They need to stop jerking us around with that one. That one's getting to me. It's like, you can be vague and you know, just not even mention anything about the X-Men, but kind of hint at it, and that's fine. But once you start dropping background hints in movies for Fantastic Four, start making references, you start bringing in characters from alternate universes, and you can't stop showing that symbol like at every opportunity you can get. Like, I saw the Fantastic Four logo so much today I wanted to puke. But like, you didn't hear anything from it except for confirmation of speculation from last week. So I was definitely irked with that one. The X-Men, that's just a given. Obviously distraught about that. It's just there, no game, no movie, like no Wolverine update, no nothing, like nothing, absolutely nothing. We mentioned the Phase 6 movies missing. They're still missing. That was the reason why we all kind of took a breather and waited till D23 to see how they were going to fill that in. We didn't get a Wanda or Scarlet Witch movie or series announcement. Nothing. I know Twitter's going to be livid about that one, dude. Like, livid. at the very least, they should have just been like, yeah, it's coming. Something's coming. It's coming though, just to appease, because there is such a gigantic Wanda fan base out there. It's insane. So they goofed on that one, and we haven't even felt like the impact of that one yet. Yeah. But once they've realized, once D23 is completely over, and those fans realize that there is no Wanda film announced yet, they're not going to hear it until there is. And then lastly, like pure speculation and just rumor mill, but there was some rumors that Henry Cavill was going to pop up, and I just, for the sheer humor of it all, I would have loved him to come out and be like, "Hey, I'm going to play this Marvel character," and it was going to be a super close to Superman character, but alas, we heard nothing. So we got trolled on that one, and so did WB. So Henry Cavill is definitely top troll material if you want to throw off fan bases. But that's how that one worked out. The other aspect of the show was that there was a game segment, which not too much was announced. It was pathetic, so I'll rattle them off.
It was a 23-minute little pre-recorded deal, and I mean, I just got to say this: the announcer
is so cringe.
So cringe.
Oh my
so cringe.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse, but it was pretty bad. It's just the non-live aspect of that. You know what I mean? It's like if it's recorded, it's like pause for laughter. You know what I mean? Pause for applause.
And I mean, they could have had an audience for that.
Yeah, they could have.
They could have done so many other things with it, and instead it just was so cringy.
He has always had some like stupid, witty line to say after every
trip.
Yeah, it was like written by like a 55-year-old guy in the studio. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that guy saying that, so it was pretty bad. But it was barren. He was rattling off the trailers like fast. You know what I mean? Could have drug it out a little bit, but there was really nothing. So I'm gonna rattle them off myself. Midnight Suns gameplay and animated cinematics. It is what it is. It looks good when you're watching cinematics and stuff, and then you watch the gameplay, and it's like, oh, whatever. It's kind of boring. It's a strategy game, top-down strategy game. Character design, depending on how you like it. I like the crisp shininess of it. I think the character designs are somewhat unique and creative. But a lot of people are saying that they're kind of crap. And if it was like the main interpretation of those characters, I would agree. But it's like a side world that these characters are from, this existence. They look cool. I like the design. Next one was Mirrorverse, which was an absolute trip. I'm trying to wrap my brain around this one. This is a Disney action RPG that comes out this October that features the villains of the Disney universe. And when I think ARPG, just recently I played Lost Ark. You're somewhat top-down hack and slash looter. And this one being based around the villains. I think I saw Oogie Boogie and Ursula fighting monsters, and then Hades pops up and that type of thing. It was just very strange. I was like, what is this? And then matched up with the other game that came out just the other day. I forget, it was Disneyland or Disney Dream something or whatever, which was like an RPG type game. The wife is playing that one. She seems to enjoy it, but this one was random. I was like, an ARPG? That's so weird.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the
Mirrorverse's
website right now. It's not just villains. It's everyone. So I'm seeing Mickey Mouse, then I'm seeing Zurg.
Okay, so I didn't look into it. I based on the trailer, which was nothing but villains, and then the mentioning at the end of the trailer of the use of the villains of the Disney World, the universe. I figured that it was going to be just based around those characters only.
Yeah.
So they were just showcasing the fact that you can play as the villains or some type of villain involvement. Next one, Disney Speedstorm. I've already played it. It's whatever. It doesn't hit as clean as Mario Kart, but it's a whatever for a game. It really won't. But this is the Monster Inc. I guess expansion that's going to be releasing with the game, because it is in beta right now, I believe.
Okay.
So then you had Avatar Reckoning and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which are two new games under that label. Avatar Reckoning, it doesn't look like a mobile game, but it is. And it's very strange. It looks like an Avatar game, but at the same time, it is like a shooter, almost like a Division type of gameplay.
When I look at it, it almost looks like Call of Duty got mixed up with Division and Avatar.
It's this weird mashup of games, and to see a Navi with a rifle running around shooting is like crazy. So I was like, I mean, I don't remember the original fight scene in that. I'm sure they did probably utilize some guns to fight, but he's wearing like pants and a shirt and shit, and he's running around with a gun and he's shooting. It's like, what is this? I mean, if it's free, it's fine, but if you have to pay for that, like whatever, dude. The Frontiers of Pandora.
Microtransactions.
Oh yeah, gotta love it. I mean, that's why you make mobile games, you know. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora looks like a console game. Nothing shown about it, just a cinematic, and that's pretty much it. So, just more hype mill for Avatar. Next one you were super excited for, but it was just a brief teaser. It was Tron Identity.
Yeah, it literally had the name of the developer and the logo for the thing, and that was pretty much it.
Just some symbolic camera movement that is indicative of the Tron universe.
Yeah, I played the crap out of the Tron game that came out on Xbox 360, and I really enjoyed it. Where you had like playing the games that you see in the last Tron movie.
Yeah.
So that was really fun.
I think I remember playing that as well.
I hope they do something similar for that.
I like games that are based around the light bikes.
Yeah.
And I think I remember playing that game, and you are like racing on the right light bikes, and you gotta like go down and like jump up and like try to cut them off and stuff like. I forget, but it's a generally decent concept, and you know, if they want to make another game about it, then so be it.
Yeah.
Next one, Captain America and Black Panther in World War II. I didn't get a title for this game.
Yeah, it's untitled right now.
Yeah. It looked like you had one random character that's associated with Wakanda, and then you have like one random character that's associated with the U.S. military, and then you have Black Panther, and you have Captain America, and it's labeled as a 4-player game, right? So I don't know how that's gonna work. It's like they couldn't bring in other characters to like beef up that 4-player squad, so they just made the other 2 characters like just random characters that are like themed to the main characters. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it though. It will not be T'Challa. It will be his grandfather. I forget the name actually. I saw it earlier, but that's a given. It's not going to be the Black Panther that you know and love. It's going to be an older one that would have been around during World War II, because duh. Got Marvel World of Heroes. It's a Marvel Niantic game. I'm here for it.
Pokemon Go.
I got
Marvel.
like 5 years out of Pokemon Go, and I'm over it.
I'm still playing.
I mean, I'm just over it, dude. Like, I
play like 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day now.
Yeah, I mean, I check in on it once in a while, but I've just kind of lost all my muster, and I was pretty gung ho about it. And it's not because they made anything. It's just after like 4 or 5 years of doing it, it's like, all right, I'm done, and that was it. So, you know, the concept of it, I can see it. It's like maybe you're out there, you know, you gotta build a deck, right? And you get some like starter cards, and then when you go and fight a boss like Ultron or something at a stop, right? An Avenger stop or something. Once you beat Ultron, maybe like, you know, other characters come in and help with that fight, and then once you beat Ultron, you get the opportunity to have them join your team. Then you get their card and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then when you're battling per se, maybe you can call in, kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom. You call in your heroes to help you, like, you know, detain this whatever the threat is. And maybe you're run into random heroes out there and you fight them, you spar with them to prove yourself. And it's based on kind of the same typical Niantic methods. If you beat them, then maybe they join their team, or maybe you got to beat them 3 or 4 times or what have you. You know, there's concept potential there, so I could see it. I also tried to play the whole Wizarding World one, and it was so bad. It was just not fun at all. I tried really hard, but I was like, Niantic cannot work outside of Pokemon. But this might actually be it, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. The one thing I just noticed from your list that it's missing is there's the Marvel Snap game, which is like a Hearthstone style mobile game that's going to be coming out.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The reason that's actually missing from my list is because instead of writing it on my list, I went to my phone and I looked at at the App Store to download it. and it's not there. It comes out like mid-October. You can go to their website and you can sign up and get all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's your typical turn-based card strategy game. It looks like it's set up differently, a more unique game style, but depending on how unreasonable it is to collect that type of stuff, I mean, we'll see.
If it's like Hearthstone, where you just have to invest your time, and there's like no transactions, I am all for that. But there's going to be microtransactions at this point.
Oh yeah,
there
100%.
will be.
If it's free, there will be.
Yeah.
And then lastly on my list here, it's just an update to an already existing game that we all know and love. Skywalker Saga for Lego Star Wars is getting a Galactic Edition that comes out this holiday season that will include, I think it was, I have a link here, let me click in here. You get 13 character packs, Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, The Bad Batch, Rogue One, Star Wars Story, the classic characters, Solo's a Star Wars Story, Trooper Pack, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, The Book of Boba Fett, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebel, and Summer Vacation. Looks like there's, out of those, 6 of those are new.
Yeah,
and will be coming with this new version, along with all the other ones that have been released prior, which you said, unless you buy the deluxe edition, you have to buy individually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the deluxe edition right now is typically only a few dollars more, which makes it just no-brainer.
Not worth it.
Yeah, but the new character packs is for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, Book of Boba Fett, Clone Wars, Rebels, and then Summer Vacation. So...
yeah, so I mean, if you're like me and you've been kind of holding off on it, you might want to wait till Christmas or so and soup the Galactic Edition up, because it's going to have like literally everything in it. And it's a fun game. You and I played it on stream, and might play it again. But I, as somebody who plays those games, I want it for like myself, so I can like do my own grinding and that type of thing. So
yep. The one thing I'm disappointed in though is that there's not any new levels. It's just character packs.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd pay for new levels, but I mean, at least with the Lego Star Wars game, you can just invite your friend to join your session. So
yeah, it has a shared experience. Although it does feel like I'm playing on your console. You know what I mean? As like a second player. So there's a lot of limitations, and in terms of like achievement hunting and stuff like that, you still want your own copy. So yeah, if you're holding off on it, wait until Christmas. You get the big boy version for probably the same price, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that is it for D23. It was pretty hefty. It's a gigantic list of things to talk about, even though not too much was announced. And we're going to be skipping the roundup, but I do have an extra segment here. I just want to go over the new announcement for the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Plus, and we'll just go over some specs here, and we'll call it a day. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I'm not buying the phone because I already have, I think, 2 iPhones right now. So it's like, I'm not interested in the high price dollar point, but when it comes to the advancements, there's some juicy stuff on here. So I'll just rattle through here. If you're an iPhone listener, then there's some good information in here as to the updates that are coming to the lineup. If you're not, then go ahead and skip to the end of the show, and we'll talk to you next week. But for the Apple event, which happened on September 7th, you did have the announcement for the you had 2. You had the Apple Watch Series 8, which is just an improved version. There's also an SE model that's being released, which is much cheaper to afford. There's also a rugged version of the watch being released called the Apple Watch Ultra. Some pretty cool advancements on that. In terms of the Ultra, it's like bulkier, it's scratch resistant. I think it's dive proof. The knob on it has some extra material around it, the dial, so that it doesn't get damaged when you're doing things like diving or hiking or climbing or what have you. It's made for like the very active individual, and also the knob is bigger so that you can access it with gloves and stuff like that. So you have those 3 different models now, and then just basic improvements, battery, screen, that type of stuff. You also had the AirPod Pro be announced. Same thing, better battery life, new and improved, pretty much the same deal. A little bit better in terms of background noise being negated. As far as the iPhone 14, you have the existing 6.1 inch as they have for, I think, the previous model, but now they're adding the 6.7 inch option for an iPhone 14 Plus.
That's a really interesting thing that they're including the larger screen option without going to the Pro line, because there's the Pro and the Pro Max, so that matches the screen options there.
Yeah, and it is going to be matching too. That's a running theme throughout this, actually. One thing, they're both going to be rocking iOS 16. They both have improved thermal performance as every year. And both models have the OLED Super Retina XDR display. So both 6.1 and 6.7 inches. It supports 1200 nits peak HDR brightness. It's 2 million to 1 contrast ratio and Dolby Vision. So super crisp. And like you said, it's kind of carrying over between both models. Both models have ceramic shield. It's considered tougher than any other cell phone glass, airspace aluminum, and dust resistance. The ceramic shield was interesting, like technology. It's like laid over, but it's integrated. They had the graphic up, but essentially it's made to last, which, you know, it's always an issue with these iPhones. You get 5 colors. I think there was like a really light purple. There was a gold. They had the Project Red or Product Red. They had black, and then they had like a silver.
Yeah, I think they also had a blue.
Oh yeah, it wasn't silver. It was blue. It was like a silverish blue, kind of like the silverish purple. They're not real gaudy colors. They're very dull.
Except the red.
The red is what I rock. I've rocked Product Red since they started that whole project. And really, what it is portion of the sales go to AIDS prevention. And you know, it's if you're going to buy an iPhone, you want something that looks unique, swoop up the Product Red. It helps. Yeah. I like the red, and it is actually carrying it over. They're not just using the red; it still contributes to the same cause. I love that. I've always loved the red, and I remember back when it wasn't common. You know, red wasn't a color that you could choose. People thought that it was a case, but it was like, oh, is that iPhone red? I'm like, hell yeah, it is. Yeah. So I mean, it's an option. You know, if you're going to choose and you don't mind, hey, it helps AIDS prevention. Repping all-day battery life with the best battery in an iPhone ever, as always. Last gen Pro Max equivalent to both phones in terms of battery life.
Impressive. Yeah,
so it is impressive. Now, whether or not that's going to, you know, it's going to carry over with the new screen size and then the OLED Super Retina XDR, you know, the HDR brightness and all that stuff, and the Dolby Vision, like, you know, are they talking about bottom end performance and the carrying over? Like, you have to shut your brightness all the way down and all that stuff. Like, who knows? But iPhones are pretty good in terms of long lasting battery life if you don't utilize it constantly. Like, the thing will last for like a week. A16 Bionic chip, 5-core GPU, and 6-core CPU, 16-core neural engine. The neural engine is insane. Custom signal imaging processor. We're talking, it's an iPhone. You know, they all operate pretty quickly. I've noticed that the older the phone gets, the crappier it operates for some reason. I think that has to do with
update
the operating system and all that stuff. Yeah,
you're adding more features to hardware that's staying fixed.
Yeah, and really, I mean, you know, unnecessary stuff should just be left out. And you know, there's a lot of speculation out there as to whether or not Apple does that intentionally. I don't think so. I think I'm in that same boat. You know, I've also, you know, somewhat tech savvy, so it's like I understand what happens when you start, you know, loading up a device, even your PC, with updates and stuff like that, and it starts getting heavy. That's what I call heavy. 12 megapixel main camera with an f 1.5 aperture and sensor shift OIS. That's a 49% low light improvement and nighttime exposure twice as fast.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, that's really what you want, is the low light improvement. And they mentioned a lot about the low light improvement, and you know, taking pictures of my baby and stuff in the morning. Like, you know, we're chilling, laying down in the living room. I don't have the lights on. You know, I want him to kind of just like slowly wake up, be chill, listen to his story time, and play with his toys. You know, I'm trying to take some pictures to send to mom at work, and it's like I can't take a picture because the light I cannot get the light proper. You know, and unless I just flip on all the lights in the room and, you know, kind of ruin the chill mood. You know, it's like I kind of just gotta take it as it is. But my phone's a little bit older, but a lot of low light improvement talked about in all these cameras. Which to accompany it, you got a 12 megapixel front facing camera. It's an f 1.9 aperture true depth camera with a 38% improvement in low light capture. It's the first time with front facing autofocus as well. You know, with people doing FaceTime and stuff like that, that's awesome. You want to focus on the front-facing camera as well, big time.
Yeah, it's a good update.
We are sticking around the 12 megapixel camera range. You know what I mean? I mean, given the cameras are being improved upon, the lenses are being improved upon, the megapixels
sensors are getting
super crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, the sensors are getting a lot better. So where you're getting faster shutter time, you're getting better low light performance, you're
Hmm.
getting better day performance. I think that's going to be the trend for a while. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Pro version though. The Pro versions are getting 48 megapixel rear camera.
Damn. One thing I actually didn't mention on here, I'm going to guess the numbers. I think it's similar. I think it's a 12 megapixel wide angle lens on the back with f1.9, I think, aperture. It's not true depth. And I think it is floating around like a 48 or 46% low light improvement. And nighttime exposure is like twice as fast on that as well. So a lot of comparable increases in terms of technology for the cameras. But the front facing one is actually really cool. I like that one.
Yep.
Then you have the photonic engine, which is an AI that utilizes the neural engine to combine multiple images together earlier in the photo processing procedure to capture higher resolution detail that carry over into the final result. So it's like it's taking it. I mean, it's kind of similar to the way that they shot, like, I mean, it's a rotoscoping or something, but it's how they shot Tron, right? They broke the image into multiple frame, like multiple layers, and then when they stacked them together, they were able to get an end result. And that's kind of how these cameras work. I mean, you have to get into super crazy details in regards to how that actually works, but just know that when the camera takes pictures, it's taking a series of pictures. It's taking the depth, it's taking the foreground, it's taking the colors and the shadows and the highlights and stuff, and then it's filming them separately and then compressing them at the end of the procedure to give you a picture. And what the photonic engine does is that it takes that compression and it does it earlier in the process, so that the remaining steps of the procedure are utilizing higher resolution images to give you that final result. So there's AI behind this as well that's going to be utilizing this technology to give you better results. So the way I have it described here is utilizing AI improves low light image quality on both front and back wide angle camera twice as much as iPhone 13 and 2.5 times for the new main camera. So it's pretty nice. I mean, these things are becoming really nice cameras. And then you got like Nikon and like Canon or whatever talking about not making DSLRs anymore. I mean, it's, there's a shift happening with photography right now. And these types of advancements are crazy. Advanced stabilization mode called action mode supports Dolby HDR. I saw this in full operation. It's super impressive. I never even thought that they would be able to do something like this. I mean, the shake was dramatic, but just know that the image stabilization coming to video mode on this iPhone is insane. One of the more impressive aspects of this was eSIM, which is allowing the transfer of plans without the need of physically swapping SIM chips. So essentially just like a cloud-based SIM card.
This is actually a really awesome security feature.
It is, yeah.
So you can't just have someone steal your phone and swap out the SIM chips and run away with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's locked.
It is, and Apple's the one with the key type thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if anybody is going to have the key, you want Apple to do it at least. I'm not going to say you would seek them out to be the harbingers of security, but when it comes down to a company that actually cares about safeguarding that information, Apple's probably the better one. So insane. That is a huge announcement. That technology is being adapted by all main three carriers here in America, which is T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And there is no tray on that phone, like, period. So it is done. So the next one on here, crash detection, which is it utilizes new gyroscope and dual core accelerometer that can auto notify emergency services if it recognizes a high impact collision. So this is one of two features that Apple introduced in regards to saving human lives, which I think is actually the more noticeable aspects of this presentation and announcement of this phone. Is that this feature, along with the next one, but this feature in particular is it's important. You got some back roads where people get into accidents, and every moment counts. You know what I mean? So this feature was pretty cool. But the one that actually impressed me most was the emergency SOS feature. It utilizes an emergency satellite system in any circumstance with a clear view of the sky. You just point the phone in the direction that it indicates, and it'll actually allow you to connect to emergency satellite systems to send distress texts to either, well, it's an Apple relay center, right? So they take your your contact, and if the local center, like emergency center, the ground station that can assist you, if they accept text messages, they'll connect you directly, so you can send text messages directly to the station to help you get found. If not, then the application has it built in to where you can comprise very compressed and actually compressed down to 1/3 the size in terms of text message size, but in terms of like actual words being used so that it's easier to send, it helps you comprise text messages to send straight to the satellite if you're pointing at it. And sometimes, I think it's like 15 seconds of constant contact with a clear view to get that beacon out. If not, then it could take like up to like 10-15 minutes or what have you. But if you're sitting at the top of Mount Everest and or whatever, in the middle of the woods, lost, this would actually allow you to get emergency services. I think with the iPhone 14 you get like 2 years for free, but it does allow you the ability to contact emergency services in really remote areas that typically wouldn't have access to. And the other one is actually, it's a passive usage of this same system, the satellite system, that allows you to easily send your location to loved ones. So it'll show a ping as to where your location is, even in the most remote areas, based on satellite positioning.
That's how you save lives right there.
Yeah. And for anybody wondering, the iPhone 14 is starting at $799. We all know what that means. It's probably two or three other options afterwards that all incrementally increase by like, $100, $200 each or what have you. The iPhone 14 Plus starting at $899. So that one's going to be a hefty big boy.
Yeah, the Pro is going to be coming at $999, and the Pro Max starts at $1099.
Pre-orders did open up yesterday for that on September 9th, so you can head on over and get that if you want. iPhone 14 available September 16th, the 14 Plus on October 7th. So yeah, that is pretty much it for today's show. It's a massive one. I think we tried to cut it down, but that was a frivolous attempt. We will try again next week. As always, we're going to skip the roundup this week. There actually wasn't all that much, just the Apple plug and then the D23, which is an extensive amount of information. But, as always, I'd like to end the show with our little plug. And, if you want to head on over to our social media, you got Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, and pretty much everything else. Nerd Chatter Show. You can find all of our episodes of the Nerd Chatter Podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and more. If you're interested in becoming part of the community, we got our Discord. You can head on over there where we share some random stuff and kind of joke around, chit-chat a little bit. Or you can head on over to our Patreon where we have Patreon-specific content. Just recently uploaded a video, our Ryan Johnson discussion about Star Wars and his comments last week about returning and all that good stuff. So a little juicy content over there for you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, about a half hour right on the dot for that one too. So, check it out. Always want to support the show. Feel free. And if you're on YouTube, links in the description. Mostly everything that we mentioned in the show. We'll try to get all the trailers and stuff like that, and anything we can round up for you guys to check on down there. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, you can head on over to nerdchatter.com, our website, and check out any of the links to lead you to our social media to get any information that you want. And that is pretty much it. Garrett, thank you, my friend.
Of course. I'm glad to be here, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we will. We'll see how next week fares. I still got my tooth issue going on. I got an appointment here.
At 2:30?
No, it's at 10 days. Wow. I got an appointment here in like 10 days, so I'll probably get one more show in before I figure out whether or not I'm going to need some oral surgery here. In which case it might affect the show. So we'll see what's up. But yeah, if you listen to the show, we really appreciate it. Hope you guys, let your family and friends know. And we are out of here for this week. So we will catch you guys later.